welcome to week 6. Okay, so we're going to do one more activity centering around evolution, and then we'll leave it behind and start looking at some diversity of organisms. So this activity that you're going to do is going to be another online activity, and it's sort of a game to try to find out if you can make a species survive for an extended period of time. You will be able to have some mutations occur, and you'll be able to choose certain characteristics about your organism and see what happens to the organism over time. And there will be certain events that will happen as you're playing this game that will affect the ability of your organism to survive. So have some fun with this one. Make sure you read through the instructions first. I've had some students in the past get caught up in the game itself and forget that they're supposed to be collecting certain data. So make sure you know what data you're looking for and trying to collect, so you're making the right recording of information. But have some fun, play around with it. You can certainly play it longer than what you have to for the assignment. It's kind of a fun little challenge to try to see if you can get your organism to survive. You'll find out that there are certain traits that might be beneficial and other traits that may not be, but you're going to have to tweak it out and play with it to find out. Okay, so the other things that we'll do once we get done with evolution for this week is move on to those diversity. And we're going to start off with diversity in prokaryote organisms, or organisms that don't have a nucleus inside their cell, if you remember that from the beginning of the semester. So prokaryotic diversity, and the lab for this one's going to be associated with using yogurt. This is the one I told you about in the last video to make sure that you are planning accordingly, because this is going to be a little bit longer of a lab. When you're working with the yogurt, you can't just collect data over an hour. You're not going to see the changes. So you need to go over an extended period of time. It's one of the advantages we have of having the summer course, is to have that time element. So you're going to be doing comparison over time and looking at different conditions at which may be favorable and may not be favorable for the bacteria to survive in, as bacteria are normally found in yogurt as part of the process of making yogurt. So you'll play around with that with the lab. Then the next thing that you'll do is look at diversity of eukaryotes. And we're going to split this up into two, and we're going to start off looking at animal diversity. And in the animal diversity, you're going to be looking at the digestive system, and you're going to be comparing humans, frogs, and butterflies. So you may need to do some looking into what do those organisms consume, typically for food, and how might that consumption affect their digestive system, as to what their digestive system is going to look like. What are the structures that they need in their digestive system based on what they consume? And so you'll do the lab. You're going to be going around online, probably looking for information about what their digestive systems do look like. And so you'll probably need to go beyond what the lab itself provides and go gather some more information as to what their digestive system is, and do some comparing and contrasting between the organisms, relating it back to what they consume in terms of food sources. And that'll pretty much wrap for this week. A quick heads up to next week, and we'll come back in next week and look at plant diversity. And so for plant diversity, you're going to get outside. It may be a little bit hot. I know last year when we did this, it was during the hottest time of the summer, and it may be that way again, so kind of plan wisely. You also are going to need some daylight, because you're going to need to be outside looking at the plants in the ground. And so you probably will want some daylight. You could do this with a flashlight. Might be a little bit more of a challenge to do it that way, but plan accordingly. Look ahead to that lab that's coming up on Monday of next week, and look at what you're going to need. You're going to need 2 different locations with plant availability to survey and try to look for some diversity. So make sure you look ahead for that and plan your time accordingly for completing that lab. All right, thanks. Have a great week.